During the next half hour, the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation presents from Winnipeg the best-known folk singing duo of the Prairie Provinces, Reg Gibson and Jim Pirie.
Oh, Shenandoah, I long to hear you. Away, you rolling river. Oh, Shenandoah, I'll never leave you. Cross the wide Missouri.
And now to tell you about the songs he and Jim Pirie are going to be singing, here's Reg Gibson.
Thank you. In addition to a few folk songs of our own country of Canada, we've chosen 4 from the United States, 2 from the British Isles, and a pair of sea shanties that have been sung on both sides of the Atlantic. To begin, we'll sing a lively bit of American folk music that pokes a little innocent fun at people inclined towards attitudes of stuffiness in regard to religion and education. The song's called I Was Born About 1,000 Years Ago. I was born about 1,000 years ago, and there's nothing in the world that I don't know. I saw Peter, Paul, and Moses playing Ring Around the Roses, and I licked the guy that says it isn't so. I saw Satan when he looked the garden o'er, saw Adam and Eve driven from the door, and behind the bushes peeping saw the apple they was eating, and I'll swear that I'm the guy that ate the core.
I saw Jonah when he shoved off in the whale, and I thought he'd never live to tell the tale. But old Jonah'd eaten garlic, and he gave the whale the colic, so he coughed him up and spit him out of jail. I saw Israel in the battle of the Nile. The arrows were flying thick and fast and wild. I saw David with his sling, pop Goliath on the wing. It was doing 40 seconds to the mile. I saw Samson when he laid the village cold, saw Daniel tame the lions in their hold. I helped build the Tower of Babel up as high as they were able, and there's lots of other things I haven't told. I was born about 1,000 years ago, and there's nothing in the world that I don't know. I saw Peter, Paul, and Moses playing Ring Around the Roses, and I licked the guy that says it isn't so.
Now we come to a Canadian folk song from the East Coast Island province of Newfoundland. Most Newfoundlanders love to dance, and this lively ditty about a fisherman and his lizer is one of their favorite dance tunes. The song is known by its first line, I's the by that builds the boat.
I's the by that builds the boat, and I's the by that sails her. I's the by that catches the fish and takes 'em home to Lizer. Hip your partner Sally to boo, hip your partner Sally Brown. Fogo, Twillingate, Morton's Harbor, all around in a circle. Sods and rinds to cover your flake, and cake and tea for supper. Codfish in the spring of the year, fried in maggoty butter. I don't want your maggoty fish, that's no good for winter. I could buy as good as that down in Bonavista. Hip your partner Sally to boo, hip your partner Sally Brown. Fogo, Twillingate, Morton's Harbor, all around in a circle. I took Lizer to a dance in faith, but she could travel, and every step that she did take was up to her knees in gravel. Hip your partner Sally to boo, hip your partner Sally Brown. Fogo, Twillingate, Morton's Harbor, all around in a circle. Susan White, she's out of sight, her petticoat wants a border. Old Sam Oliver in the dark, he kissed her in the corner. I's the by that builds the boat, and I's the by that sails her. I's the by that catches the fish and takes 'em home to Lizer. Hip your partner Sally to boo, hip your partner Sally Brown. Fogo, Twillingate, Morton's Harbor, all around in a circle.
I want to sing next one of the most beautiful folk ballads I know. It, too, has been sung for many generations in Newfoundland. The name of the song is She's Like the Swallow, and it tells
simply and with great poignancy, a story of longing and regret. She's like the swallow that flies so high. She's like the river that never runs dry. She's like the sunshine on the lee shore. I love my love, and love is no more. 'Twas out in the garden this fair maid did go, a-picking the beautiful primrose. The more she plucked, the more she pulled, until she got her apron full. It's out of these roses she made a bed, a stony pillow for her head. She laid her down, no word she spoke, until this fair maid's heart was broke. She's like the swallow that flies so high. She's like the river that never runs dry. She's like the sunshine on the lee shore. I love my love, and love is no more. Now, to provide something of a contrast, and to give Jimmy and me a chance to catch our breaths, I'm going to get a bass player, Bob Jackson, to join me as we accompany Jim in an instrumental treatment of a melody from Texas. It takes its title, Remember the Alamo, from the famous war cry of the Texans after the massacre of the garrison of Fort Alamo in 1836. The music is in the style of folk tunes of Spanish American and Mexican origin, common in the southwestern United States. Now for two songs of the sea. Jim and I are going to sing for you next a sea shanty about a notorious fellow named Shallow Brown. Some stories I've heard refer to him as a boarding house keeper who provided lodgings for sailors. Apparently Brown always insisted on 3 months' board in advance, and he also worked on the sly as an agent for supplying forced labor crews to deep-sea ships. When they were back afloat, the sailors, whom he had victimized, referred to their first 3 months of each trip as working off the dead horse.
Me mother kept a boarding house, hullabaloo belay, hullabaloo belay, and all the boarders were out to sea, hullabaloo belay.
A fresh young fellow named Shallow Brown,
Hullabaloo belay, hullabaloo belay,
followed me mother all round the town, hullabaloo belay.
One day when father was on the crown, hullabaloo belay, hullabaloo belay, me mother ran off with Shallow Brown, hullabaloo belay.
Me father says, young man, me buy
Hullabaloo belay, hullabaloo belay,
to which I quickly made reply,
hullabaloo belay. Me father slowly pined away, hullabaloo belay, hullabaloo belay, because me mother come back the next day, hullabaloo belay. Me mother kept a boarding house, hullabaloo belay, hullabaloo belay, and all the boarders were out to sea, hullabaloo belay, hullabaloo belay.
I'm going to sing you next a very fine ballad which tells the story of a young man we might call history's first frogman. It's an English folk song which was often sung as a folksel shanty in the days of sail. It concerns what may be purely a fictitious event in the life of Sir Walter Raleigh, commander of the Golden Vanity. There was a ship sailed on the lowland sea, and the name of the ship was the Golden Vanity, and we feared she might be taken by the Turkish enemy that sails in the lowland, lowland, low, that sails in the lowland sea. Then up stepped our cabin boy, and boldly out spoke he, and he said to the skipper, what will you give to me if I swim alongside the Turkish enemy and sink her in the lowland, lowland, low, and sink her in the lowland sea? I will give you silver and I will give you gold, and my only daughter your bride will be, if you'll swim alongside the Turkish enemy and sink her in the lowland, lowland, low, and sink her in the lowland sea. So the boy made him ready, and overboard sprang he, and he swam alongside of the Turkish enemy, and with his auger sharp in her side he bored holes 3, and he sank her in the lowland, lowland, low, he sank her in the lowland sea. Then the boy turned round and back again swam he, and he cried out to the skipper of the Golden Vanity, but the skipper would not heed, for his promise he would need, and he left him in the lowland, lowland, low, he left him in the lowland sea. So the boy swam round and came to the port side, and he looked up at his messmates and bitterly he cried, oh messmates, take me out, for I'm drifting with the tide, and I'm sinking in the lowland, lowland, low, I'm sinking in the lowland sea. So his messmates took him out, but on the deck he died. So they stitched him in his hammock that was so fair and wide, and they lowered him overboard, and he drifted with the tide, and he sank into the lowland, 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 he sank into the lowland sea. Again, you'll hear Jimmy Pirie's guitar and Bob Jackson's bass fiddle, and this time they'll play an instrumental arrangement of an old Scottish melody, the Sky Boat Song. We'd like to sing for you now a jail song from Oklahoma, which tells the tale of a Negro boy who tries to rob a mail train in order to give a certain woman the fancy things she craves. He fails in his attempt, and the fickle girl runs away with another man, leaving the poor boy to suffer the consequences.
As I went down to the river, poor boy, to see the ships go by, my sweetheart stood on the deck of one, and she waved to me goodbye. Hang down your head and cry, poor boy. Hang down your head and cry. Stop thinking about that woman you love. Hang down your head and cry. I followed her for months and months. She offered me her hand, and when we were to get married, poor boy, she ran off with a gambling man.
He came at me with a big jackknife. I went at him with lead, and when the fight was over, poor boy, he laid beside me dead.
Hang down your head and cry, poor boy. Hang down your head and cry. Stop thinking about that woman you love. Hang down your head and cry. And yet they call this justice, poor boy. Then justice let it be. I only killed a man that was just a fixin' to kill me. Hang down your head and cry, poor boy. Hang down your head and cry. Stop thinking about that woman you love. Hang down your head and cry. Hang down your head and cry.
We haven't included a humorous item in our program yet, and as the realm of folk music is so rich with humor, Jim and I are going to sing a Canadian song from British Columbia. Or perhaps this song may heighten the impression held in many other lands to the effect that Canada is largely a frozen wasteland. Well, of course, we must admit that the temperature does go down well below zero in the wintertime, in some parts of the country at least. But like so many humorous songs, this one exaggerates tremendously. It tells the sad story of a tough Canadian logger who finally froze to death when the temperature dipped to 1,000 degrees below zero.
As I sat down one evening, was in a small cafe, a 40-year-old waitress to me these words did say,
I see you are a logger, and not just a common bum, 'cause no one but a logger stirs coffee with his thumb.
I had a logger lover, there's none like him today. If you poured whiskey on it, he'd eat a bale of hay.
My logger came to see me, 'twas on a winter's day. He held me in a fond embrace that broke 3 vertebrae.
He kissed me when we parted, so hard it broke my jaw. I couldn't speak to tell him he forgot his mackinaw. The weather tried to freeze him, it tried its level best. At 100 degrees below zero, he buttoned up his vest.
It froze clear down to China, it froze to the stars above. At 1,000 degrees below zero, it froze my logger love.
They tried in vain to thaw him, and if you believe it, sir, they made him into axe blades to cut the Douglas fir. And so I lost my logger, and to this cafe I've come, and it's here I wait for someone to stir coffee with his thumb.
The song I'm going to sing next isn't, strictly speaking, an authentic folk song, but it does have the spirit of the genuine poetry and melodies of the Pueblo Indians of New Mexico and Arizona.
In Pueblo City, there lived a girl, and her hair was a hillside brown. She was tall and straight, like the aspen tree, and her voice had a music sound. Her eyes, like the ripples in the water, shone, and her lips were a choke cherry hue. Oh, wait for me, Pueblo girl, I'm a-comin' back to you. I'm a-comin' back to you.
Once more, we'll sing you a song of the sea. In this case, it's a capstan shanty which is believed to have been adopted from sailors from Negro cotton loaders in American seaports along the Gulf of Mexico. This particular song, which describes the Battle of Molino del Rey in the Mexican War, was sung by seamen as they tramped around and around, winding the heavy anchor chain or cable onto the capstan. It's known as Santiago.
We're sailing down the river from Liverpool, heave away, Santiago, around Cape Horn to Frisco Bay, all on the plains of Mexico. So heave her up and away we'll go, heave away, Santiago, heave her up and away we'll go, all on the plains of Mexico. She's a fast clipper ship and a bully crew, heave away, Santiago, a down east Yankee for her captain too, all on the plains of Mexico.
There's plenty of gold, so I've been told, heave away, Santiago. There's plenty of gold, so I've been told, way out in California.
heave her up and away we'll go. Heave away, Santiago. Heave her up and away we'll go, all on the plains of Mexico. Back in the days of '49, heave away, Santiago. Those were the days of the good old times, all on the plains of Mexico.
Well, Santiago was a good old man.
Heave away, Santiago,
Till he got into war with your Uncle Sam,
all on the plains of Mexico. So heave her up and away we'll go. Heave away, Santiago. Heave her up and away we'll go, all on the plains of Mexico. When I leave this ship, I will settle down. Heave away, Santiago, and marry a girl named Sally Brown, all on the plains of Mexico. So heave her up and away we'll go. Heave away, Santiago. Heave her up and away we'll go, all on the plains of Mexico. All on the plains of Mexico. Santiago.
And that's the last of our folk songs for this time. Jimmy and I hope you've enjoyed them and that we'll be able to sing for you again before very long.
From Winnipeg, Manitoba, the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation has presented one of Western Canada's best-known folk singing teams, Reg Gibson and Jim Pirie. The two singers also played guitars and were accompanied on the string bass by Bob Jackson.
Oh, Shenandoah, I long to hear you. Oh,